You're listening to Broncos for Breakfast with Nick Kendell and Scott Kennedy. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com for all things Broncos. Good morning, Broncos country.
Alrighty, we are in here, the earliest episode yet of Broncos for Breakfast, 6:30 a.m. my time, but 7:30 Mountain Time. I know it said it was going to go on at 8 here, and I know the Twitter said that as well, but Chad knew, and we let you guys know that it was going to be 7:30 today, and probably 7:30 going forward. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, it'll be an adjustment, but things are getting busier on my end as well, so having to push this a little earlier to get everything in, which is okay with me, man. I'm up at 3 a.m. to start driving to a hiking trail on the weekend, so que sera. Welcome in, Scott. How are you doing?
Good. I'm usually up between 1 and 3 to pee for the first or second time of the night, so I'm
Not
usually
me,
up too, but I'm going back to bed.
No, not me.
I'm a 6 to 6:30 type typically, so
yeah.
This is actually mid-morning to me.
Yeah, you're already at 10:30 there? 9:30?
9:30, yeah.
9:30? Okay. Well, there we go. And we got James Holloway, speaking of early. First, this is James Holloway. Welcome in. Dave Glassman, you were right. You were right, Dave. Don't question yourself. I thought we were starting a half an hour early today. And cheers with the orange heart and blue heart. You are 100% correct. And we also got Tim Durr in the house saying, morning, fellas. Good to see you. Good to see you as well, Tim. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, guys, this is the Broncos for Breakfast show. We're coming at you live every Tuesday and Thursday with training camp. Like rookies reporting for training camp today, I think. Gosh. So things are really starting to happen here, which is great. You guys can follow us on Twitter at HuddleUpPod, as well as at Mile High Huddle. Also, you can follow Scott and myself at Nick Kendell MHH for myself, and Scott at Scout Kennedy. If you guys zoom in there, it's not SCOTT, SCOUT, Scout Kennedy there. Also, if you guys are joining us today on Facebook, please click the thumbs up. I just saw a few come in there. We got Millie Thomas Custer coming in, Tammy Nugent, Albie Keiderling. Hopefully I nailed that for you. That sounds German. My answer's probably rolling in their graves. Keiderling coming in there. Another one. Now we got a heart coming in from Greg Smith. Good to see you, Greg, as Scott likes to say. Aloha. He'll be in here soon, I'm sure, in the comments section. If you guys are joining us today on Facebook, again, thanks for clicking the thumbs up and everything. Also, make sure you go to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. Join the conversation there. If you guys are sick of the quarterback talk, if you want to talk about the second string, third string tight end, start a conversation there. There's people in there that probably feel the same as you and would love to contribute, and we'd love to hear what you have to say on that. If you guys are joining us on YouTube today, please subscribe, like, and share. It's probably the number one way that you guys can support the show, and with training camp, I mean, just upon us, preseason upon us. If you guys can, go out there at a call to action, subscribe, like, and share this show on YouTube, on your social media platforms via the YouTube link. That can help us more than pretty much anything else you can do. So please go out there and do that if you enjoy the content, and leave a comment also on iTunes, YouTube, wherever. Let us know what you're thinking. While you guys are over on YouTube, also, please make sure you go to Scott's channel as well. I'm going to drop it here in the comment section. I'm going to pull it up for you guys. There it goes. If you click that link, it'll take you to Scott's channel, and he's got a lot going on there. I know that he's got some new content coming down the track. Scott, what's in the chamber? What's about to be fired off?
Starting next week as camp comes, I'm going to start getting busy, doing some live stuff, doing some Atlanta Falcons stuff, doing some NFL draft stuff, doing some fantasy stuff. So, and basically anytime I'm on, I'll talk on a lot of that stuff just because I can't help myself. I'll start talking about draft and fantasy pretty much in any live video I do. And I'm also going to start posting some recruiting videos again. Those are nice evergreen content. And as those kids make news, people start popping up. Walter Nolan, number one defensive tackle, 5-star guy who we'll talk about here before too long on this show, in 3 years or so, just moved high school. So all of a sudden it was popping on my channels, and anybody, you put a comment in my channel, I'm going to respond to you. If there's a question or a call to action there, I'm going to interact. So, had some last week talking a little international football. It was fun, but next week it's going to start getting busy. Busy.
Yep, I feel that, man. August is going to be just an incredibly busy month, but That's okay, man. Better busy than bored. We got Andrew Morrow coming in with the $2 super over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Andrew. You are always such a consistently generous contributor, so we appreciate you. And he says, morning, gentlemen. Well, good morning to you, Andrew. Thank you for joining us in half an hour earlier. Greg Smith. Go ahead, Scott.
Aloha.
There we go. Good to see you, Greg. Yeah, he threw in the coffee mug this time, so good to see you, Greg.
Mine's hot out of the press, so I'm still trying to cool mine off. I'll probably, if you see me sweating here in a little bit, it's because my AC in my basement still isn't working, and I'm drinking hot coffee. So it's 79 in here right now. It'll be 83 here by the time we get done.
How do you feel about iced coffee?
I was going to ask you how to do that. I mean, it just seems like it would just melt the ice. Then you just have watered down coffee. So I need to know how to do that. Or a cold brew. I've read how to do that, but I'd be interested in iced coffee. So I like, coffee ice cream is one of my favorites. Jamocha shakes from Arby's. Those are the best. So I'm not above cold coffee for sure.
My wife has a carafe that she puts the grounds in. It's kind of just a cylinder, and she pours the water in it, leaves it in there for 16 to 24 hours, and then has cold brew coffee for the next 2-3 days. So it's obviously not as instant as the drip coffee, but it's really good. And on a hot day in the summer, man, I don't touch it as much
as I am about food. I don't mind putting a little time into my coffee. Me, it's like, I won't walk across the street to go eat. I'm going to the pantry and I'm grabbing a peanut butter and jelly or having a bowl of cereal. I just want food. I don't. Yeah. It's like, well, you must not like eating. I'm like, no. I love eating. I'm not picky. Just make sure there's plenty of it.
Yeah. The quantity argument over here.
If I walk into a restaurant and they start talking about presentation, I'm in the wrong damn place.
Ah, man. Sometimes that's fun, but they're probably not giving you the quantity you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what a lovely presentation. It's food. Give me a big bowl of spaghetti. I'm good.
Speaking about being good, Jeremy Shawn coming in here. Good morning, fellas. Mr. Kirk Cousins, maybe a little sleeper there in Vikings country this year. We'll see. I feel like they're maybe an NFC dark horse. Tim Durr, my God, can we stop talking about Rodgers at least for the season? LOL.
No, because now we have to start talking about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's and also, what does it mean for 2022? A lot of football left to be played, though. But at least for now, I think put a cap on it, which is fine. Benjamin Flores, good morning, fellas. Good morning to you, Ben, over on Facebook. Thank you for everybody who also clicked the thumbs up, the heart react, the like react, since with that call to action there over on Facebook. Broncos for breakfast, yeehaw from Arizona, says US Dave. We got Huevos Rancheros, Nick and Scott, and Broncos for breakfast. So good. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
You being on my channel last week. I enjoyed having some soccer conversation with you.
There you go. Awesome. That's great. That's a lot of fun. And finally, Mr. Sir McLovin over on Twitch, one of our most loyal Twitch listeners, saying, good morning, fellas. Let's rock and roll. So, Scott, you had the idea for today's kickoff topic. And I know there's all the quarterback stuff going on, but let's give everybody a little bit of a reprieve from that. And let's talk a little Patrick Surtain.
Well, this is one of those third-party validation things. When I first came on, who did I say I thought the Falcons, the Broncos should draft? Who was the first guy in that spot that I mentioned?
You mentioned Surtain.
Patrick Surtain.
Mm-hmm.
So, not that it means really anything, but Madden came out and they've got him as the fourth highest rated rookie, period. And number 1 was Kyle Pitts. Number 2, Trevor Lawrence. Number 3, Jalen Waddle. Number 4, Patrick Surtain. And we've had this discussion a lot about, why is he a good fit for this defense or not? And, and like I said, it's like general managers don't necessarily think that way. Coaches will, but that's why coaches can't be general managers because they're thinking the right now. And in my opinion, Patrick Surtain was the best overall cornerback in this draft. And that's what general managers are looking for. It's like, okay, we need a corner. I'm going to go get the best guy. Even if he's not 100% the right fit for this defensive coordinator in this defense, my first round pick, I'm drafting for the next decade. That's the guy I'm going to have for the next decade. And I don't want to have a guy. I want a guy that's going to be versatile enough to play in any defense for any type of scheme and use him. And I think Patrick Surtain's that guy. So I wasn't completely surprised to see him that high, but if you look at the top 10 rookies, he's the only corner on it, and good for him.
Yeah, this makes me wonder how the Carolina Panthers fans are feeling today with the first cornerback off the board, the pick before Patrick Surtain, in J.C. Horn, not listed in the top 10. And you listed Kyle Pitts, 84, Trevor Lawrence, 78, Jalen Waddle, 76, Patrick Surtain. So Patrick Surtain's actually tied for third, 76 as well.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Zach Wilson, 75, Jamar Chase, 75, Devonta Smith, 75, Trey Lance, 74. That's very high for Trey Lance, even though, I'm a huge fan, but that's pretty high. And then Justin Fields at 74. Sorry to pick that scab, guys. So I think the biggest interesting one there is your boy, Micah Parsons, did not make the cut, as well as J.C. Horn, the first cornerback taken. You think just because he was taken before Patrick Surtain, they would have tossed him in there, just tossed him a bone.
There's a lot of I don't know, echo chamber that
Semantics.
Goes on. there's a lot of the echo chamber that goes on. It's like, oh well, they like him, he must be good. And I saw it all the time in recruiting rankings. And it's like, oh, well, so and so offered him. I'm like, it doesn't make him a better player, So he got drafted in this spot. That doesn't mean he's better. Yeah. Would Mac Jones have gotten a higher rating if he went third? Yes, yes, he would have. But, and I think Trey Lance got the benefit of that doubt, coming in at, 74, tied with Justin Fields. And, speaking, when you mentioned my boy, my other guy on that list was Penei Sewell. You know how high I was on him. Mm-hmm. He was who I said that if the Falcons didn't go quarterback, that was your building block of the future. I think he's a future all-pro, long-time all-pro left tackle in this league. And position of need, it made a lot more sense to go left tackle than another receiver at the 4 spot. So big fan of those guys. Like I said, this was an exciting draft. Mm-hmm. They go 9 deep here, I think. And we're talking about guys, Micah Parsons, J.C. Horn, impact guys that we expect to have big impact that aren't even on this list.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised Jamar Chase wasn't a little higher, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Of the guys that are on here that could be a little higher. Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts were thought of to be the 2 best position players in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts got that nod at 81, but Jamar Chase is all the way down at 75. And frankly, it's not completely fair to the rookies in a sense. When you go and sort by position, when all the rankings are out, it's going to take you a long time to get down to 75. And I guarantee you wouldn't go through 40 receivers before you pick Jamar Chase in the real world,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point as well. And obviously you got all 4 of the top 4 rookie quarterbacks in there also. So those are 4 guys I liked a lot last year, and Madden saying they're high. So talking about that echo chamber, or what is it? Confirmation bias on that end.
Probably a better phrase for it. Mm-hmm. Watching, just looking at you on screen, I wanted our listeners, or wouldn't be our listeners, our watchers. Can you tell who lives in the Pacific Northwest and who lives in the South based on our skin tone here?
It's probably my light. I can probably get a little bit. There we go. But there we go. Maybe a little more color. I'll probably be red.
I was gonna say my face is getting red because I'll be hot. My cheeks will be flushed by the end of the segment.
I will be red because of the backpacking trip, or I'll just be one giant bug bite. But what can you do? Karaoke Chris coming in. Morning, gents. Good morning to you, Karaoke Chris. How you doing? Peter Middleton. How you doing, buddy? He says, hey, Nick and Scott. Hello to you, Peter, over in Cambodia. I always mix up as Cambodia or Vietnam. I think it's Cambodia. Tim Durr in the house. To your point, Scott, probably why we passed on Fields. If Scott was on the general
point, because I saw that come up, was it the point about the fit? Having the best player available. So that was, I made several points. So for me, or is it because of how you like Surtain for the next 10 years? That was probably the one that made the most sense. Passed on Fields because of Surtain, not because of anything lacking in Fields. That was probably it.
There we go. And Tim Durr, if Scott was in the general manager chair, he would have been a Falcon if he was for the Falcons, or he would have been a Bronco. We both really liked Fields and thought he was worth that swing, but
like I said, if I was in the general manager chair, Justin Fields would have been a Jet.
Yeah, the second quarterback.
I would have taken him number 2.
Yep, but we'll find out. I mean, full transparency, right? You can't predict the future. I liked Josh Rosen coming out. I thought he kind of trying that Peyton Manning mold, smart, accurate, can move around the pocket pretty well, tennis player. I was like, oh, okay, well, I know he has some off the field stuff going on here as far as like how interested he is. But I thought
that was the big question with him is he was not a football junkie.
Nope.
You know, he was a guy who was good at football. He had a little bit, and he grew up a lot. Watching him, the knock on him coming out of high school was that he was just aloof, tennis player. Not necessarily an ass, but just not necessarily a team player either. And then I went and I watched a camp that he was in, and he was completely mentoring his backup quarterback when they were at a 7-on-7, and he really grew up and grew into that position. I was very, I hate to say proud because he didn't care what I think, but you know, when you're watching a 17-year-old kid and you're in your 30s and you see them grow up, you're like, nice. I'm proud of the way he elevated his game and matured. Yeah. And it was the other one at the same time that we were asking about that had the real problem was Malik Henry, if you remember that name. That was the one. He was at Westlake and transferred to IMG, and he's maybe the most unfortunate personality I've ever scouted at the quarterback position. So he didn't make it. he didn't make it. But Josh, the question around Josh was, does he love this game? Not like Peyton. Peyton was a junkie. Peyton was a savant.
Mm-hmm. Thought you were gonna keep talking there for a second. Oh, hi, well, I got my dip.
I know, I caught you. I caught you there. So,
it's again, full transparency. I would have probably taken Josh Rosen in that draft and would have been bad. But I also probably would have taken Kyler Murray that very next year because I'm very much of the opinion that you swing away and keep swinging. So here we are, US Dave, feeling jilted. Who is our leader to point to the point we can tell Rodgers to take a hike next year and what happens on the field today? I don't think you probably tell Rodgers to take a hike next year unless Drew Lock becomes a top 10 quarterback this season. Which, anything can happen. So I guess that's a possibility. But I don't think to the point where you tell Rodgers to take a hike. And I think Rodgers, if he had full power, he would not be a Packer right now. He had a contract. So
all right, help me out here. I've just read the headlines. Is he free to go as a free agent next year? Or did it get reworked, or would it still take a trade? But because I think I saw something about he would waive his no trade clause. Well, obviously, yeah. If he's trying to get a move,
I thought I saw that he wouldn't technically be a free agent until after 2022. Mm-hmm. But they promised to trade him if he still wants to be traded after this next offseason. So that's what I tried to interpret from Adam Schefter's tweets yesterday. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be more that'll transpire. Mike Gibbons in the house. Good morning, Nick and Scott. And also, USDA, what happens on the field today? Hopefully everyone stays healthy and there are no injuries. Other than that, okay. Like to hear some of the rookies standing out, whatever, but no injuries.
Get some reps. Let's get comfortable. The new guys comfortable in the new system, and let's be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Peter coming in on YouTube this time, logged in for double likes. And he's out in Cambodia, so there we go. Jeremy saying I base Nick's location on the new facial hair. It's not. I don't know if it's new. It's just maybe I'm getting older. I'm becoming a grizzled vet.
I can't grow it.
You can't grow it.
I can't grow facial hair to save my life. So I don't.
I'm thinking about the mountain mustache. The wife says the mountain mustaches are horrible, but just for the backpacking trip, just to have the mountain mustache, just a teaser.
Do you know who Tex Cobb is? He was Randall Tex Cobb. He played football for a long time, was an actor.
Yes.
He had the great Fu Manchu. Just world class.
I don't know if I could do that, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Des coming in. Good morning, everyone. Go Broncos. Tim Durr, yes, and the coaching staff may not be here next year. Good point. Albie coming in. Over 50 years for Denver Broncos. Well, Albie, you've been here for the good and the bad, but a lot of good in those years. I mean, gosh, getting to watch the career of John Elway and then the blip, but still great. 4 years of Peyton Manning. Albie knows what good quarterback looks like and what that means for a team. So we got Michael coming in here, says if Locke doesn't stink, he will be top 15. So he's either great or bad. Is that what Michael's saying?
Awesome. You know what would be awesome, Nick? If Locke had such a good season that his haters just said he was a product of the system.
Oh my God.
He's still not any good. He was just a good system. Great. I don't care.
Yeah. No.
I don't care. I just want the productivity. Robert asked, are you familiar with Stamford Bridge? I've been several times, including the tour. I took this picture. This one behind me. I took this picture. So this is my photo of Stamford Bridge. And I've been to 3 games there, I think. 3 games there.
Jealous. That'd be a fun one. I wish the NFL had more like the local feel, like the neighborhood feel around the stadiums, and like the chants and
corporate franchises. It's tough. The Marxist model of American sports makes it tough to have a community feel to it.
I mean, gosh, we're losing that in college football too, it seems, coming up here. But what can you do? Maybe the Hawks will keep that. The Iowa Hawkeyes, for those of you unfamiliar out there. Let me see. We got Dave Glassman saying he's with you, Scott. Beardless. Michael's in the house. Michael Ronquillo. Good morning, Nick and Scott from Broncos for breakfast. We got Mo Ron coming in. Dang, forgot you guys started early. And Michael with the stars, I believe, probably. So thank you very much, Michael.
Gary. Haven't seen Gary yet today. Gary to confirm. Yeah,
where is Gary? Gary, hopefully you are, I guess maybe he missed the memo that we are starting early. But Scott, I'm going to pull up this Twitter. Oop, that's the wrong one. I had it right here. I swear to God. Okay, there it is. Top 10 edge rushers in Madden NFL 22. Wanted to make sure you guys could see that before we get out of here or move on to the next topic. Myles Garrett, number 1. And I got to say, I emphatically agree. I think Myles Garrett is probably the second most valuable defensive player in football this season, only behind Aaron Donald. He's a freak. And my God, I think he's going to explode this season, especially with the way the Browns attack the secondary. Khalil Mack at 96, still really good. TJ Watt 94, that's fine. Chandler Jones 94, JJ Watt 94. Then you got Von Miller tied with Cameron Jordan, two different types of edge rushers, but still.
Yeah,
93.
Cam's a big, 3-4 defensive end type. Yeah. He's huge.
Same draft, man. That 2011 draft was absolutely insane. Then you got Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, and Darius Smith. So any thoughts on the edge rushers here? Von Miller being 93, that's pretty good for the Broncos.
Who's the youngest of that bunch? Is there anybody on that list that's up and coming? The younger, the Bosa, I still don't know. Can't think of who's who.
It's Myles Garrett might be the youngest.
Bosa has to be pretty young.
It's either Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa.
Yeah, and Myles has been around a while.
Yeah, but was like it's only 1 year before Nick Bosa. 25 years old for Myles Garrett.
So there's room for advancement, you're saying, for some of the younger guys to step up and move into this list.
Nick Bosa 93. Or 93, 23. So and then TJ Watt, I guess, would be another one that's decently young.
I went up to the big house and watched Wisconsin and Michigan and saw JJ Watt play. He was awesome. Just awesome. And he didn't get drafted that high either, did he?
JJ Watt, I think he went 11th overall or 9th overall.
Okay.
So decently high.
Which isn't too disrespectful, but
yeah.
He's a guy that should have been top 5.
He only have really 1 year of production.
I don't know. Wisconsin? I saw one game, was like, that guy's a man. I was convinced. I'm like, that is a grown ass man out there playing against Michigan, because I was at the big house and I was on the field that game, and I didn't know much about him, and he wasn't a big name recruit coming out. So, but Myles Garrett I knew all about. I got a video floating around somewhere of me saying the reasons why he is the number 1 defensive end and maybe prospect in the country that year. I knew all about Myles Garrett coming out, and the Bosa boys coming out of Fort Lauderdale. They've been big time for a long time as well.
Yeah, so looking at this edge rusher list, any thoughts on Von Miller specifically? My thoughts are, while Von Miller's still great, I don't know if he should be 93 overall coming off an injury with his age. Mm-hmm. But knowing Madden, they really have a bias towards established longtime players. So like you'll see players like, especially in like free agency in Madden, they'll be like, oh, this guy's not signed with anybody because he's washed. But he's an 85 overall. So like he gets snapped up by all the simulations immediately.
EA Sports is like that in FIFA too. You're like, man, I wish we had this player. You look at his numbers. He's an 84. It's like, man, that'd be amazing. This guy sucks. Yeah. I'm not saying Von Miller's like that, but I think you're right. Once they hit that 98 or 99, it's kind of a slow burn to come down, where in the real world, the drop-off's a little steeper. And it's almost a sign of respect. I'm okay. Yeah. It's a video game. It's still a video game. I don't think there's too many people right now that would take Von Miller over the Bosa brothers if they were playing a game tomorrow. But that's okay. I'm hoping, get a 93 out of Von Miller, and we're gonna have some fun this year on defense.
And he's gonna have some fun with that next contract. Best wishes to Von Miller there. 93. I probably would have put him at about a 90 this year. Anybody that in edge, probably one of my favorite positions here. Anybody that you feel is missing? So let's answer Peter Middleton here. Who's the most surprising on this list? And also enjoy the stars. Thank you very much, Peter. Surprising on the list for me, I guess, is Von Miller being a 93 after coming off the injury in the season before where his sack total was lower. I mean, again, I've told you guys that sacks are not really the end-all be-all for evaluating an edge rusher, but we're talking about a video game here. So seeing Von Miller still that high is a little surprising to me. So I'm happy about it, God, and I'm hoping that he earns it higher. But anybody surprise you here?
No, I mean, maybe when I look at Chandler Jones's numbers, maybe that it's that low. But Chandler Jones has got to play for a team that people watch. I couldn't have told you who Chandler Jones was, to be honest with you. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl. Got no reason to watch the Cardinals. And, so I look him up real quick, and he's got eye-popping numbers.
He's been incredible.
His 2020 year was kind of a bust, 5 games, 5 starts, but we'll forget about that one. But he had 19 sacks the year before that.
Yeah.
Let's see, 32, 50 sacks in the previous 3 years. Good Lord. Yeah, he needs to go play somewhere that people actually give a hill of beans about.
Well, he was a Patriot there for a little bit, so people knew him then, but you traded him off. Probably one of the lesser trades from Bill Belichick out there.
It was 6 years ago. I mean, last time he played there was 2015.
Yeah, exactly. It is nice to see Zadarius Smith get some credit here. Where do you think Bradley Chubb would be? Put it on your evaluator hat. Bradley Chubb is one who's not on here. Where would he be on this listing? Where do you think
he's too far down from there? He's a Pro Bowler at outside linebacker. He's going to be between 86 and 88.
That's exactly what I was thinking. 86 and 88. And for my money, the biggest oversight here is you talk about Chandler Jones being the most underrated edge rusher. He's up there. I feel like he's been getting more credit recently. Now I'd say the most underrated edge rusher is Daniel Hunter for the Vikings. Youngest, I think the youngest player ever to like 50 sacks, career sacks. So he's one. I know he had an injury last year, but I'm expecting big things from Daniel Hunter this season. He was a 3rd round pick, but man, he always had incredible tools and it clicked for him in the league. So big fan of Daniel Hunter. He's one that should be on this list in my opinion. And we got US Dave saying, "Where's Shaq? Shaquille Barrett." Good question. I'm guessing he'll be probably anywhere from that 86 to 88 range where Bradley Chubb is as well. Shaquille Barrett's very good. I do not think he is a alpha pass rusher, despite that sack total he had his first year at Tampa Bay where he was on a torrent pace. I feel like for that defense, Vita Vea is the straw that stirs the drink for that defensive front. He just dominates and creates gaps, and everybody feeds off that.
And I like McLovin's comment here. He says, honestly, I don't think Chubb is worth top 10 edge money, but oh well. And he might not be. He's got a contract coming up, so it'll be up to him to prove that he is. That's a nice thing. This is, we talked about this on a previous pod. There's the guys that have something to prove, have competition behind them. That's inspiring for both of them. For the player who says, okay, I want this job when he's gone, or I can beat him out this year. And the next guy's saying, I'm playing for a new contract. So that's motivation across the board. Again, 19th general manager front office from those rankings, the future rankings that we see on ESPN. Every time I mention something about this team, there's always a positive that has to do with the way it's structured.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, this is not. This front office has done an amazing job with this team.
Yep, it's that's what I mean in that ranking, because the rankings are what they are. But the nuance to it was, this is great, but the quarterback.
But the quarterback, we get it. We get it. If they had drafted a quarterback with this draft, would you have moved them from 19 to 5 where they probably belong? Jesus.
Honestly, they might have. But we got Mr. Sir McLovin coming in. Chubb is great, but not elite. How many guys are elite then, right? Like, where's that cutoff? He's going to get paid. He's young. Top 5?
5 is elite.
Top 5. Well, then there are not many elite options out there, even on that list.
Exclusive for a reason.
Yeah. So it's fine that he's not elite. He will get paid like he's elite, though, because it's not about who is the best. It's about who's next. That's just the way it works. Cyclical. And then 2 years into that deal, it'll be a bargain because 10 more guys will have gotten paid by that point. I think the biggest thing is,
especially in football, they sign, or maybe not in football because they can hold out and redo it. When they didn't have the guaranteed money as much, but in baseball and basketball, these guys sign these 6-year deals, making them top 5 paid. And by year 4, they're pissed because they're number 50 on the list.
Yep. Exactly.
I think respected. You signed a contract, you idiot.
Yep. That's
sign a 1-year deal. Bet on yourself.
that's reality of that's the reality of it. I think for Chubb, also, it's not about how much he gets paid, it's when he gets paid. And if the Broncos were smart and had some foresight now, there's a little bit of risk to this because of the injuries and whatnot, but you want to pay Bradley Chubb before Myles Garrett cashes in, because that's going to be the difference of, honestly, I think that could be the difference of $5 to $7 million a year on Chubb's contract, because I think Myles Garrett is going to get paid that much, and it's going to completely shift the market towards bigger contracts for that edge rushing position. And then Chubb and his agent are going to point to that deal and saying, listen, we think we're as good as Myles Garrett. Pay us that money. He's not. He's very good, but he's not Myles Garrett. So don't be like the Cowboys, kind of twiddling their thumbs with Dak Prescott and ending up having to pay like 10 to 15 more per season. Get Chubb locked up now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where. So would Myles be on the end of his rookie deal? I usually have Spot Rack posted up already when we're doing these things, so I'll look him up. And Myles this is his 5th year in the league, so he's been around a little bit. This is
his 5th year, so he's playing on his 5th. I think he's playing on his 5th year option. So, yep, I would lock up Chubb. I know you have 2 years left to control, but get her done, because you do not want to do it after Myles Garrett gets paid. Also, I don't think you want to do it after T.J. Watt gets paid. Also, I think that's another guy who's on the 5th year of his contract.
I think that would be a pretty amazing sign if he re-signed with the Browns, because the Browns don't keep those guys. They just never have. They've never been a franchise worthy of re-signing with if you are that level of player. So that would be an amazing sign for Cleveland and the community if they were able to re-sign Myles Garrett.
Yep. No, absolutely. That would be. They also have the franchise tag in their back pocket that they could use twice.
Also, which I think is. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I don't mind that they can do it once, but when you can do it 2 times and have a player under contract for 7 years of their career, first round pick, like Brandon Scherf, who has never even hit the free agent market and he's about to be 30 years old, that's when I have an issue. That's unfair. And that's just me because I love Scherf. Used to see him walking around my grocery store when I was in Iowa. Mo Ron coming in here. Khalil Mack was tied for 14th in sacks last season with guys like Brian Burns, Montez Sweat, Olivier Werner, Devin White, and Emmanuel Ogbah. Khalil Mack had a poor season last year. That's is what it is. He also had an amazing season the year before that. I think Defensive Player of the Year, maybe, with that Bears. Maybe that was 2 years ago. So he'll get up there still.
I'm willing to write off 2020 a little bit for people. It was just such a strange year for everybody. I know we like to hyper intensify the scrutiny we put on Drew Lock, but it was a weird year.
Yeah.
The motivation factor for people is different. The where their heads are as far as, their concentration and focus. It's just a strange season.
Yeah, it was a strange season indeed, but still it's what we have to go off of. Robert Rubio coming in here. Mount Rushmore of Broncos edge rushers all time. Oh, man, so, Robert.
I have a question for you. I just looked up Miles's numbers on Spot Rack, and I think he signed an extension.
Did he already do that?
The way this looks is a 5-year, $125 million contract. He didn't get that as a number 1 overall. And this has him under team control until 2026.
Well, then he definitely signed a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did. It started in 2020. So before last season, he signed an extension.
Okay. Well, there's the mark. Man, he's talk about holding out. That's somebody who probably will need a new contract after this season. I bet you he will be demanding it. And I remember that now. Yeah, a lot of people.
Maybe not, because it is $100 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
You don't. It's like it's been a pet peeve of mine, and the media plays along with it about guys that hold out. Well, he's under contract. Well, so are the 10 guys that just got waived. A contract is a series of 1-year deals with club options. That's all they are.
Yeah.
But until you guarantee him, now he's got $100 million guaranteed out of 125.
Yeah.
You better not hold out on that. You can start pushing for a trade or whatnot, but once you start signing guaranteed contracts, your ass better be in camp.
Absolutely. And got Mo Ron saying, where's Malik Reed? He had more sacks than Chubb last season. Malik Reed's probably going to be like 76. Probably. That's a average starter rating, I would say, in Madden. So that's probably
I haven't played in years. So I'm
they
gonna
said
play
they fixed
Madden and fantasy football to catch up on all the stuff you kids are doing.
all the hip young ones.
I played 92 Madden. That's how old that franchise is. I played 92 Madden on my Sega.
What pixels did you like? What team? The little black and red ones for the Falcons?
I played with the Chiefs because they had Barry Ward and Christian Okoye, and then I liked running the ball. And then they had one really fast guy that you could get behind the defense. So I always played with the Chiefs on 92 Madden.
Well, woof. Robert coming in here says Mount Rushmore Broncos edge rushers all time. It's going to be hard for me because I don't remember football before really 2003, right? Like I was pretty young at that point. But putting on my historical hat here, just knowing what I've heard. Tombstone Jackson, U.S. Dave's correct here. Simon Fletcher, Von Miller, and he says Ruan maybe. I'll probably throw in though, just somebody else saw was Elvis Dumerville. He was very good there for a little bit. I know that they had the fax gate where he left, but I think he deserves a shout out. And I'll put him on there as well. And maybe Chubb can displace him, but we'll see. Shane Daniels coming in. Morning, Nick and Scott, ready for training camp? Absolutely. And we do have something we want to talk about with the training camp here in a second. Tim Durr saying like Tecmo Bowl. And here we go. US Dave, a lot of momentarily forgotten names, Mo. So that's true. Do you have any Broncos edge memories? Let me catch you right when you're taking a drink.
No, not necessarily. I mean, one of our first conversations was about Carl Mecklenburg and how was he not in the Hall of Fame? I certainly remember him, but most of the guys I remember. No, I wouldn't say most because Atwater certainly rings a bell, no pun intended, when thinking about Broncos of the past. But a lot of it's around John Elway and that offense that he had. So Mecklenburg was a beast. I think he should probably be in the Hall of Fame. Not sure why.
Him and Randy Gradishar.
I don't remember him as an edge rusher though. So I just remember the impact on the games that he made. So I was a kid when he was playing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good call on that one. Snow Goose, what a great nickname. And I guess the last thing, the elephant in the room, Broncos news-wise, that we need to talk about is just because this is an opinion show, right? With this personalities, whatever, we're telling you what we think, breaking down the game, analysis. But the Broncos did place both rookies on the sick little bug reserve list in Jamar Johnson, safety Jamar Johnson from Indiana, and Kerry Vincent Jr., cornerback from LSU. So both those players, I guess, had a positive test, and no idea on their status as far as preventative measures. Trying to avoid keywords here, buzzwords, so YouTube algorithm doesn't get mad at us. But both those players are going to be out. Don't know their status. I guess maybe we can suss that when we figure out when those guys can come out of quarantine. But that's a reality. And Broncos are going to be without two of their most intriguing, promising young secondary players in the defensive backfield as rookie training camp opens up.
So who was it again? Who were the two players?
Jamar Johnson, safety out of Indiana, 5th round pick, and Kerry Vincent Jr., defensive back, slot back out of LSU. Both of them apparently positive and will end up on the reserve list to start off. How long, any long-term ramifications for this season, we'll find out. I know Shelby Harris last year missed a lot of time because of it. So, we'll find out. They're obviously, I'm not worried about for their whole life, but who knows? And it's noteworthy.
No way I can have this conversation without getting us in trouble. No way.
Yeah. Okay, Scott. Well, that's the news there, and we'll see what happens coming out of it. But either way, a disappointment, and hope those two are healthy and fully ready to go when real training camp opens up.
They will be.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully no protocol violations, so the Broncos aren't subjecting themselves to draft pick loss or fines. EJ coming in. Good morning, Nick and Scott and Broncos Country. I am Purple Drink coming in saying morning Broncos Country. Get your coffee and your joint rolled up. Come on. Get your Purple Drink rolled up. How about that? And make it a good one.
I don't know. We can probably talk about this easier than we can talk about the other things. I'm coming up on 24 years sober. And so I never looked down at anybody that was smoking when or whatever when I drank the way I drank. But man, if I started drinking, I drink till I pass out. If I had a joint right now, I'd be asleep for the next 18 hours. So that'd be a nighttime thing for me. I can't do that for breakfast, fellas.
Yeah, the what do they say? Wake and bake.
I don't know, man. I even tried. I did it maybe half a dozen times in my life. I'm like, yeah, this feels great. I got to go lay down.
Oh man, we got congrats, Scott. Good for you, Scott. USA needs more addiction treatment. Yeah, that's I enjoy my adult snacks.
I don't even know if it's the treat. We could do a whole conversation on this too. Is the treatment as much as the education? We grew up on addiction thinking that, you're not an addict unless you're, sleeping in the basement of your mom's and unemployed or in a ditch, or they show people at the very bottom end of the spectrum. And you don't have any idea what, functioning addicts, what that means and how that can lead to worse stuff. So I think it's as much about education as anything, because it's like, how can I be an alcoholic? I make good grades, girlfriend, job. I'm all good. Yeah. So what if I, can't walk out of my door without at least having a 12 pack in me? So, with social anxiety messes. So I think the education is as important as the treatment, if not more so.
Yeah. And we got Jeremy Sean coming in, baked for breakfast, a completely different show. You got to work in Broncos there.
I always have the munchies.
There you go. God, I had a friend in college who partook one time, and I swear to God, he ate 10,000 calories. My Subway sandwich was gone, went through one of my bags of chips, ate like 10 Nutri-Grain bars, then went home and cooked a frozen pizza. And I was like, dude, you are going to be living in the bathroom.
I was like that until I turned 30. And then it was because, I played soccer all the way till I was mid 30s. So, I was 150 pounds at 6'1", eating 10,000 calories a day. And just, now I can look at an extra 50 calories and I have to step away from the scale. It's not fair.
I kind of had that until I moved out here, and now I spend 20 hours a week walking, walking with views. So it is what it is. So Scott, before we wrap it up and get on out of here, it is Broncos rookie training camp opening up. Quarterbacks, just your general thoughts as we open up and what things you are looking for with this team and just this time of year in general. I mean, you can relate it to the Falcons as well. Just what are the things that fans should look for?
With the rookie stuff, again, the phrase y'all have heard me use before is I root for me. So who have I talked up a little bit as a possible sleeper in this class? Seth Williams. I want Seth Williams to come. Here's our Man City guy. I want Seth Williams to come out and just shine. It's going to take a little bit of time for him because, again, he's played at Auburn in a non-conventional offense with subpar quarterback play. He's 6'3", 215-ish, can run, catch, competitive, strong. I want to see Seth Williams go out there and grab a job. I'm also not, in the rotation, not a starter's job, but I want to see what Seth Williams can do. I want to see Javonte Williams. I want to see what he's going to do in and out of the backfield and how him and Melvin Gordon are going to be interchanged for sure. So those are, and then, the non-rookies again, how healthy are Chubb and Miller going to be? Because those two healthy and productive on the edge is what makes me love football. It's, except I grew up in the 80s when the linebacker position was sexy, and seeing those two guys getting after it will be a lot of fun for me to watch.
I totally agree with you there. That's probably what I'm most looking forward to this entire season. Besides some of these young weapons, catching the ball. I mean, I know that ESPN had the Broncos weapons listed as 17th in the league. So bottom half, but we call BS on some stuff, some of these rankings, but I have not. I was personally offended by that one because if you can point to me a team that has a better set of weapons than Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, point to me 16 teams that have better than that. You're a liar. You're wrong. I don't know if you're conflating that to not believing in the quarterback position because if you're like doing fantasy rankings saying they're all good, but the guy getting the ball you don't trust, okay,
that's different.
Fine. That's a different argument.
That's not your rating your weapons. Then that's rating the effectiveness of the weapons based on the overall scheme and talent of the offensive line included.
Yep.
But that's a different conversation. Again, the futures ranking is a different conversation than my quarterback stinks right now. That's a different conversation.
100%. I agree with you completely. So shifting it back to the training camp here, somebody that you were very high on, you're rooting for yourself. Somebody that I'm really pulling for here that you were very happy about the Broncos getting and that you were a big fan of, Seth Williams. The bottom of this wide receiver chart for the Broncos is deep. And we have Mo Ron coming in here. Oh, actually, first, let's get to Man City. Just showing some love from work in Oakland, California. How's Raiders country there? Are they sad? Do they still give you a hard time? I wonder what it's like of the fallout there.
Raiders to me, always.
It's got to be Got to be a weird place in Oakland to be a fan there still. Maybe a lot of upset fans too. Maybe switching to the 49ers, some Trey Lance love. Hit that like button, says man 85 City. Scott says no there. But thank you so much.
Somebody else before they'll pick an out-of-state team before they adopt the 49ers.
Maybe there'll be a lot of new Chargers fans. I mean, gosh, that's a team that's Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert, beautiful stadium, awesome uniforms. The Chargers would be a good team to pick.
They're nomads too. They're San Diego. You can't root for them. No.
Yeah. I
really
like
hasn't moved? Who out west hasn't moved? You go be a Seahawks fan. So you can't be the Cardinals. I like red. I like the red and white uniform. But the Cardinals are, they're the St. Louis Cardinals. They're not Arizona. So maybe jump on that Seahawk bandwagon. That's a cool mascot.
Yeah. No, it is a cool mascot, and it's a cool stadium, and they also have awesome uniforms. And you can see the Olympic Mountains from the stadium, so it's gorgeous.
Silver helmets, you'll fit right. If they're still wearing those at all, you'll feel right at home as a Raiders fan.
Gosh, how crazy would it be if we see 2022 as Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson all switch homes? Very possible, guys. We'll see. 2022 could be a wild off season. But thank you, man. 85 City, showing some love in Oakland, California. Very generous, and we appreciate you there. But Seth Williams. He's one that I'm probably the most excited to watch this year for this upcoming training camp because the bottom of the wide receiver room is loaded, and he's going up against
a big moment guy too. Mm-hmm. He's a thing. He had game winners. First down extensions. He's a big moment receiver. He's not afraid of the situation. So I thought he was 6th round. I think rings a bell. Seattle left the AFC West. Reason enough to root for him. There you go. That's reason enough where you can pick them without feeling like, you're not going to pick the Chiefs, who might be around. You got to go out of division, maybe even out of conference to pick a second team if you're an Oakland fan. But Seth Williams is a big play, not necessarily explosive play, but a big play. I need to move the sticks. I need a first down. Who am I going to look for in clutch times? And, we talk about biases. I said, one of my biases is always a big receiver because they're always open. They can always get open simply by using their body. So I'd be very curious to see how he acclimates to an NFL training camp.
And he's going to have a tough field to till to make this roster because this team is so deep. We're talking about hopefully he'll push Spencer off the roster. They're totally different, but because of how the math works for the roster, that's very possible. He's also going to have to beat out Warren Jackson.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Even though, it might not be a fit here, he needs to go out and prove that he could be a fit somewhere. People are self-scouting all the time. They're scouting internally. And he can go out and say, even if he gets waived or doesn't make this roster, he can still go out and earn a spot somewhere else. So it's imperative that he grows up, for lack of, but takes advantage of the situation he's got in Denver, because there's not any pressure on him as a 6th round pick.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Maybe some pressure though, because the way his arc should be set up is he's going to take the place of one of Cortland Sutton or Tim Patrick after this season. Not like you can't fill their shoes, but the Broncos are not going to be able to pay both Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, right? There's not enough money in the pot to do both those guys as what they deserve. So you're looking for that backup X receiver, probably going to be Seth Williams, but he's going to have to earn it because the Broncos also have undrafted free agent Warren Jackson from Colorado State, big body, 6'5", I think it's like 230, not a great route runner, not a great separator, but you're talking about a big guy, absolutely massive. And one that had some real highlight plays while playing for the Rams up in Fort Collins. So, I would pick Seth Williams out of those two, but he's going to have to go out there and earn it because the Broncos also brought in that undrafted free agent X receiver that could easily displace him. And we know the Broncos recently, especially, have had a run of taking UDFAs, and those guys actually ended up being better than the players they selected late in the draft, such as David Williams and Phillip Lindsay just a couple years ago at the running back position.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good storylines here. And, it all depends on the quarterback. I don't know, but we need good quarterback play for all of these things to come together the way we know they can. Broncos are going to need improved quarterback play, and again, they should. At worst, instead of 30, 31, 32, at worst, you should be looking at 18, 19, or 20. And that would be slightly below average, which would be a massive improvement, which would improve this team greatly.
Yep. Absolutely. We got Mo Ron coming in here saying, great show, guys. Thanks, and keep up the good work. And everybody who's joining us late saying, oh, man, I thought I was getting here on time or a little bit late. Turns out I was way late. Guys, 7:30 is going to be the going forward just because I'm busier at work and things are happening here. So we're going to keep it going, and Scott's totally fine with it. So the new norm, 7:30, just to have to wake up half an hour earlier. Not too bad, hopefully. And we got the eyeballs in here right now, so it's working out. So
appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah, 100%. So the last thing I guess I wanted to talk on before we get out of here was what was it? Offensive line. The other storyline I'm interested in watching, especially with rookie camp opening up, is Quinn Miners. Where are they going to play him? Is he going to come out immediately snapping the ball, playing center, or is he going to be transitioning to guard early on? How does that transition look? What are the whispers as far as how he's picking things up? Because I'm personally writing off Miners for 2021 just because the learning curve is going to be steep, not because he's not qualified or anything like that, not because he's dumb. It's just that's a lot to ask on him, and I don't want to have unreasonable expectations for him early on. But we could hear some stuff come out of this week where he's like, oh my gosh, he's blowing us away. He looks like a natural there. He is picking up the playbook incredibly quick in the line checks. And if that's the case, you'll see me pivot quickly as far as what the expectations are. And Lloyd Cushenberry will be on notice, but won't know until we get that information.
Well, and it's good having the competition. Again, we mentioned competition at all the key positions, and Cushenberry flat out said, if I had played better, this wouldn't be a question coming into camp. So he knows it's on him, and I really like that mentality that he had there. Like, listen, I didn't have a great year last year. Okay, let's have a better year this year. Mm-hmm. So if you can keep Miners off the field, you've improved. Okay, because Miners can play. Miners is good. So if Cushenberry elevates his game to keep Miners off the field, that's a good thing. So again, unless you've got some strange personal stake in the player himself, you just want the production. So Miners makes this team better. Whether he's playing or not, this team just got better with him on the roster.
100%, either by depth, competition, iron sharpens iron, right? And we got Mr. Sir McLovin coming in here. Only if Locke makes it to the top 10, Broncos country should become comfortable. Anything else is not good enough in our division. Let's be real. And as unfair as that is to Locke compared to the league, it's probably true in the AFC West, right? Like you need to have, I'll move it down a little bit, top 12 quarterback play. If you don't have top 12 quarterback play out of Locke or projection to top 12 quarterback play, you probably need to look elsewhere because Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert are going nowhere. And that's unfortunate. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're going to win Super Bowls or multiple Super Bowls or anything, but how good were the Patriots or those other AFC East teams when Dan Marino and Jim Kelly were dominating that division, right? Like if you don't have that guy, good luck, especially in today's NFL. It's even more quarterback centric than it used to be.
Well, and I look at it just a little bit different.
Okay.
Comfortable is not necessarily the word I would use when we're talking bottom half play. If you're not top 10, then you should never be comfortable. So yeah. The word comfortable itself doesn't quite resonate with me because what I see is we're talking about an exponential improvement in the team's record from last year won't take top 10 quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
It won't. If you get average quarterback play, you're going to see that it's a playoff team. Now, does that mean you're still not? You're still going to need. If you're still bottom half, you're still going to need to make another quarterback. You're going to need to make a quarterback change. You're going to need to look to make a replacement to make a change for the next season. So comfortable, no, should never be comfortable. Should never be comfortable unless you're a top 5 guy. I don't think it's realistic to say that Locke's going to make it into the top 10. That doesn't mean the Broncos can't be a top 10 team, mm-hmm. which is what we're shooting for here.
Yep. So let's get one more here from US Day before we wrap it on up out of here. Fantasy football question: would you rather have the 12th best quarterback in stats or stream week to week? I guess it would depend on their. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? I think probably stream week to week if you're talking the 12th best, because there's going to be somebody where matchup wise you're going to be able to probably find the 6th to 8th any given week.
So help me out here. What do you mean stream week to week? What's that mean?
Streaming week to week means you don't have an established starter. You're just picking off the waiver wire based on the matchups. So like whoever's playing the Jags this week, that's who I'm going to attack.
Well, you 12th best. How big are the leagues? Most of them are at 12 at most. So if you've got the 12th best quarterback, you should be changing your quarterback every friggin' week until you find somebody that's not 12th anymore.
Yeah.
So, 12's not good enough in a 12-man league. So you should definitely be moving in and out based unless there's a curve, an arc going out. Someone coming off an injury, big receiver comes back, matchups, but you can change every week if you're sitting there at 12th best quarterback position for sure.
Or if you're sitting there with a quarterback and he's sitting there at 12th, blah, 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 but then he has absolute garbage teams he's going against in the playoffs.
But then you just hit on him. That's still week to week.
Yeah.
You just happen to pick that guy because of the current matchups. But again, look at the arc. I like to see guys getting better, or let's see this way. See guys improving. You got a young quarterback that started low and he's 12th, but he's getting better every week. That's someone you want to hold on to. So look at the trends, look at the matchups, but no, 12th, you're typically going to be a 12 to 16 at most. You can probably do better than that.
Yep. I 100% agree. Well, guys, that's going to have to do it for us today. We're going to get on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us half an hour earlier. I'll make sure I message Chad to let him know that it's going to be earlier. So hopefully he'll correct the images, placards, whatever. But 7:30, we'll see you again. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Scott at Scout Kennedy, and myself at Nick Kendell, MHH. Also, while you guys are over on Twitter, follow us at Huddle Up Pod, as well as at Mile High Huddle. If you join us on Facebook today, first off, the shout out to everybody who gave the likes, the thumbs up. We got Tim Rickard, Zarion MK, Linda Clark, Danny Trujillo, Jim Hinton, Ryan Yazzie, Benjamin Flores, Christopher Espinoza. After that says there's 6 more. Appreciate you, Greg Smith with the heart. Aloha, Greg. So appreciate everyone who clicked the thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet and you're joining us on Facebook, please do click the thumbs up. That helps us a lot. We love you for it. And also, if you guys are joining us on YouTube today, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share. And after you're doing that, go over to Scott's channel at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. I will also post the sub link. Oh, I posted it in our own personal chat. That's the wrong one. The sub link right there. If you guys click that, it'll take you to Scott's channel. The season's upon us, and Scott's going to have hella content coming out here.
Yeah,
so
the latest video is the Malik Willis from high school that I went to see. First game I went to see in Georgia when I moved back here in 2016. Watch it and tell me if you see a defensive back, because that's what he was being recruited to play at the time. No.
Oh,
I needed to see less than one game to say that's quarterback.
I hope he does well this year, because we need all the good quarterbacks we can get in the league. Too many of them going to baseball, right, Scott?
Well, it's crazy. I went, cutting my teeth in the state of Georgia. I went 10 years without a quarterback here. I mean, literally, there wasn't a quarterback from the state of Georgia. This was a running back, linebacker type of, everybody's running wing tees type of state. And now, we mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Malik Willis, Deshaun Watson's 10 miles from Falcons camp in Gainesville, Georgia. This became a haven. This became the new PA, Pennsylvania South. For those of you that are old enough to remember when all the top quarterbacks used to come out of Pennsylvania, that's what the state of Georgia has become. Where from 2000 to 2012, 13, you couldn't find a quarterback down here. Now they're quarterbacks all the time. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
except with the Falcons. Let's see what they can do once Matt Ryan retires.
Man, well, we got Robert coming back in. Broncos for breakfast rocks. Spectacular show. Thank you very much, Robert. That's really nice of you to say. And also your third super chat of the day, man. You are put your money where your mouth is. We appreciate it. Great show as always, guys. From Peter Middleton. Thank you very much, Peter. Who does everyone think the starting quarterback is going to be? I think you're going to see both of them eventually. That's probably unfortunate, but based on the comments I've heard and some crowdsourcing with people closer to the organization than myself, I think Teddy Bridgewater will win it. But who knows? We'll see. It's going to play itself out. Tim Durr saying, good pod, guys. Thank you. Have a great day. Jeremy saying, thanks, guys. See you at 7:30. Mr. Sir McLovin, thanks, fellas. Have a good one. Tom, we got US Dave losing 1.5 hours sleep on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, that's why we have coffee. Broncos for breakfast. Exactly. And Peter asking, any live things on YouTube, Scott?
Starting next week, I'm gonna start doing mostly stuff around the Falcons, and I'll start doing stuff around the Premier League as well. Anything that I'm doing with the Atlanta Falcons will also involve draft. So if I'm talking football, I'm always talking draft, and I'm always open for questions too. As a Falcons fan growing up, you had to be really interested in the draft because the team stunk. So Falcons fans are as interested in the draft as any fan base around. So you're welcome to any of the, even if it says Falcons on that, y'all are still welcome to come in and talk draft.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's going to have to do it for us today. I want to give a shout out to Andrew Morrow, Robert Ribel 3 times, Michael Ronquillo, Peter Middleton, Mac85 City, and Moron for your super chats today. And, shout out to everybody else just joining in the comment section, clicking the thumbs up. I see now we're up to 20 there, liking, subscribing, sharing. We'll see you guys again on Thursday. But until then, stay safe and go Broncos.